All right, the Cuz is on the line. We are taping this almost midnight ET, 8:49 Pacific time, and I'm riding the high, Sal. The Patriots look great. I won in fantasy. I had the highest score in our league. I won some bets. This is great. I just wish I could bottle this feeling and carry it for the next 4 months, but I know I can't.
Yeah, I know. I know. Earlier, I said I was glad the Giants didn't play the Cowboys Sunday night, but now I kind of going back on that because we thrashed them so much, and then the high let down, and then the reality set in that the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl again. It's like, we really learned nothing after one night.
So
very sad.
Kyle and I were in the office yesterday, Saturday, because I was taping a podcast with Sean Penn that we're going to run at some point, I think this week. But as that was happening, all of a sudden the Patriots had traded for Antonio Brown. So we put up a little mini emergency podcast for like 20 minutes at 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, I thought the guy was a lunatic. And by 4 o'clock, Kyle and I were high-fiving and trying to figure out where he fit in our offense.
Why is that? Why? Because everything the Patriots ever do has to be good and adorable and great, or is just blind allegiance? Or, I mean, is it at all good for the league that he's on the Patriots?
Oh,
God! I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Let's go.
This is terrible.
Let's hear it.
Terrible.
Let's hear it. Go ahead.
You finish your thoughts. You guys high five. Then what happened? You took a bath.
That's it. I did a podcast. I gave my thoughts. You give us your thoughts.
Well, here's my thoughts. They're the Super Bowl champs. They're expected to win between 11 and 12 games. They're once again in the weakest division in maybe all sports. Forget about just the NFL. And, I know you don't like Goodell, and I think he makes some questionable moves and needs to be called out on stuff. But if ever someone needed to step in and say, oh, this doesn't look right, that I don't even think can he do a contract in like 3 minutes, a $15 million when you signed Kyle, who's related to you, did you talk to him about it for more than 3 minutes? I think you probably did before you agreed to terms for his employment at the Ringer.
20 seconds.
I'm not saying he was in on this and the Patriots were in on this for the last 3 months or starting from the hot air balloon or whatever, but the last 4 days they definitely had this in writing somewhere. And if someone at the top at the NFL wants to cause trouble for the Patriots, then they probably could. And it's for nothing either, because they're going to win the Super Bowl, as you saw tonight. So
you're
I don't know what's cool about this.
You're saying that a league that 4 years ago went out of its way to try to railroad the best quarterback who's ever played in the league and actually suspended him for 4 games is now looking the other way with the Patriots.
Yeah. What are you saying? Are you saying this is all on the up and up, and the team that tried to trade for him in March and didn't then step aside, didn't have any interest in him all until he left the team, like, and did these bizarre things, and all of a sudden all these internet things are going to stop, all the Instagram posts and everything?
Well, it seems
is that what you're saying?
It seems like there was a healthy market for him. I think a lot of people were pinging Drew Rosenhaus, probably realizing at some point late Friday or early Saturday that this was going in the wrong direction and that he was going to become available. I would love to know what the complete list was. I'm sure your team pinged him.
I think the bigger the list, the better my point here. So he had to sift through 10 offers in 40 minutes and still came to terms with the Patriots that fast. Like, I don't know. It's just not kosher to me.
I go back to what he said when he came to visit us at the Ringer in February, when we asked him, what's the single best offense you could be in? And he said, Pats or Chiefs. So I actually thought it was going to be the Chiefs. I didn't think the Pats were deep enough at receiver and looking, healthy enough as a Super Bowl contender. I didn't think they would want to risk it, but they obviously, Belichick and Brady seem to really admire the guy, and they do have a good relationship with his agent. My dad was big on that one. They've had a lot of good experiences with Rosenhaus for some reason. I think they're in the minority on that.
It doesn't feel fair. I don't know how to say it other than put yourself in another team's shoes. I definitely feel bad for the Raiders, who 14 months ago had either Khalil Mack or Amari Cooper or Antonio Brown on their roster. Now they don't have any of those guys, and they're done. And it's all because they asked the guy to wear a helmet in practice. I don't know. What did anyone do wrong?
Well, I think the Raiders' problem was giving all that money to John Gruden, who clearly doesn't really have an idea what he's doing. I mean, the Brown thing was high risk, and they're putting him in a situation where he's with an average quarterback at best on a team that wasn't a playoff contender with really a rebuilding project for lack of a better word, all those rookies. It wasn't like that team was going to contend in any way. And they were expecting Brown to behave his best. Seems a little dubious.
I think that's far from his best, but I think this is a Charlie Sheen-esque meltdown, and I would hope there's something weird going on. Not that I hope there's something weird going on mentally, but that would explain things better than the Patriots just swooped in and got him when the league was most vulnerable.
You don't think it's as simple as he becomes available and Belichick's like, hey, what kind of numbers is Antonio thinking? And Rosenhaus says, well, if it's like 15 million and the signing bonus is 10, he's coming to you. And Belichick's like, well, what about 9? Rosenhaus texts back, done. And that's it. Like when we make a fantasy trade. It might have been that simple. It might have been a minute.
Fantasy trade.
It might have been like a minute.
It seems like it was like a minute. I'm saying it's more likely that it was a few days. I think I don't know. When did it turn in Antonio Brown's head that he fully did not want to be a Raider?
All right. So let me ask you this, because it does seem like Brady likes him. And Brady, even Al Michaels reported tonight that Kraft told Al Michaels that Brady told Antonio Brown, you can live with me while you're trying to find a place. So he obviously likes him.
Terrible. It's all terrible.
So Brady and Antonio Brown are texting back and forth. And he's like, hey, man, you should come here. And AB's like, I want to. And then Brady puts that word to the Patriots. How is that different than every single situation that's happened in the NBA that both of us hate?
Oh, the NBA is bad, too.
The NBA does this all the time.
And it's awful.
Well,
so
people have been asking me.
About? It's bad.
People have been asking me, don't you feel a little hypocritical that you hate all the player movement and you hate this sneaking back alley dealing and
really
guys stabbing their teams in the back to go to the teams they want? Which I have been in the past hated. And my answer is, I hate it unless my team is involved. If my team's involved, I like it. I don't like it when it's the other teams, is where I stand.
See, I know Yankee fans who, when they got big-time free agents, they were a little bummed out. Like, I don't know. I feel like, whatever. If you're just not built that way, that's fine. If everything's okay all the time, it's
Here's
good.
the thing. After Deflategate, I'm just in FU mode for the rest of my life with Brady and Belichick. So whatever it takes to win more Super Bowls, I'm in. And it was great tonight. And the Steelers, now, Kyle, can you research this? Can you Google, did the Steelers have a training camp? Just Google that. See if,
I felt like their locker room was more distracted by the Antonio Brown news than the Raiders or the Patriots or anybody. Like,
wait,
I don't know what
did they
happened
realize
there.
that game was being televised?
Oh, man.
That was an abomination. What were they doing? Wait. How about, I knew they were in trouble when the 3rd and 1s where it's 4th and inches and they're punting, and granted they're in their own territory, but you have to have a certain mentality when you play the Patriots. You know, that's why the Eagles beat them in the Super Bowl, and any team that's done well against them has had that attitude of, we're not afraid of you, we're coming at you.
And not like the Steelers were going to come back, but you know, as soon as the team kicks a field goal on 4th and 3 inside the 15 or
4th and 3, it was 4th and 1.
Or punts from the 45 or something, you know, that's when Belichick just sticks out his cheating foot and puts it on you, rubs it into your throat. And
it's 20-0. Our guys have been open all game. Brady wasn't fantastic today, but the offense was moving the whole time.
Yeah.
And they're basically like, well, if we cut it to 17, we might have a chance here. They're on the 1 yard line. Even if they don't get it, we're stuck on the 1 yard line.
Sure.
It wasn't like we were running the ball that well, but I thought the Steelers, an atrocious game. It seemed like they were completely unprepared for how good the secondary was which I was telling you a couple weeks ago. I think this is the best secondary the Patriots have had.
It's a top 5 secondary. It definitely is.
It's just deep.
With Gilmore and McCourty and Jackson, like it's really not a hole back there. And
2 McCourtys.
That's rough. Wouldn't you like to win it that way? Wouldn't that be nice? Like, hey, for once our defense can win us a Super Bowl.
Well,
not
listen,
have to be saddled with this lunatic.
From what I saw tonight, I don't know if Antonio Brown can beat out Philip Dorsett. I don't know. He might be his backup. Is he better than Josh Gordon and Dorsett? I don't know. From what I saw tonight, maybe not.
Do you think this will work out? Like, how's this going to work? Is Antonio Brown going to shut down the social media, which does seem to be like crack to him? Is he going to shut it down altogether to Belichick's liking, or is Belichick going to bend a little and say, hey, this guy could do good things for us, I'll let it go. I'm definitely not going to let him tape our conversations, but I'm going to let something go. He can throw 1 or 2 things in a week.
So, all right, so this could go one of 2 ways. Brown might be a lunatic. It's possible. It can't be ruled out. He might just have gone off the deep end and there's no coming back. Or this is the situation he wanted all along. He got it. he is somebody who A, wants a Super Bowl ring and knows what that means for him and his legacy. I really do think he cares about his legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think there's a world in which he's just on his best behavior this year. He understands that if he catches 90 to 105 balls, 12 TDs, he's huge in the playoffs. Brady loves him. He gets his just due. This is somebody, if we're making a list of the best receivers of all time, he's in the top 5 statistically, but he doesn't have the playoff resume yet. So if he has like that kind of career season, like what Moss had in 07, on top of all the other stuff he's already done, now he's in that conversation. I think that's what's driving him personally.
I guess. I mean, you talk about legacy. There's got to be different ways to go about it. I don't know how we're going to remember him in 10 years, but I feel like a lot of this stuff is going to, I mean, I don't know, maybe there'll be 20 players between now and then who go about their business the same way, but people, I feel like this is the shit we're going to remember. The hot air balloon, which nobody, not wearing the helmet, the crazy posts, the crying at a press conference flanked by team captains, taping his coach. I don't know.
Boy, you're really agitated by this.
I don't know.
I
was so happy with the Cowboys win. Then I'm watching. I was like, oh, why have we been watching this season?
My answer to that is I don't think people will care in like a month. It goes in one ear and out the other with bad behavior with athletes. Like the whole Jimmy Butler thing, what he did in Minnesota was reprehensible. Mm-hmm. And he went to Philly and everybody was like, cool, he's playing with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Nobody cared. Well, nobody's going to care with this.
I was using that because like all week I'm screaming about the Patriots. This is why the Patriots are winners. Their culture, their locker room culture is different. They would never allow this. They're winners. Raiders are losers. Oh, it sounds good on paper, right? Then the Patriots sign him. So, and I'm thinking like Malcolm Butler didn't play the Super Bowl, a gigantic game, and we still don't really know why. And so, you know, they're able to keep things secret. This goes so counter to how the Patriots do their business. It is going to be interesting to see. Maybe it won't matter. Maybe we won't put up with it at all. And you're right. Maybe it won't make the team.
Well, I know the prevailing theory out there is the rich get richer, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just going to remind you, and this is my buddy Hench pointed this out. I don't know if you've ever met him, Kevin Hench.
Yeah.
You've ever met that guy?
Uh-huh.
He wants to point out that over the offseason, we lost our Hall of Fame tight end. We lost our leading passing rusher. We lost our center. We lost our left tackle. We have a new punter. We have our first round pick who's on the injured list. Those are a lot of obstacles. I'm really proud of this team for fighting through it and being able to stay together with those massive amount of losses.
Good job.
Now with me on that?
Now go beat up on the sophomore team that you have to play every other week.
But this schedule, I mean, we knew both of us thought the Steelers were going to be better, and maybe they will. Again, once they have a couple practices and get back in the swing of playing football again, which obviously their first time they put the pads on all year was tonight. But once they get back in the swing, I still think they'd be pretty good. But this Patriots schedule coming up, they play all 3 AFC East teams. And I don't know if you noticed today, it was a little under the radar, but the AFC East might not be good other than the Patriots. I don't know if you saw that. They play the Washington Redskins and they play the New York Football Giants, and that's the first 6 weeks of the season. So,
well, we always said the Patriots have 8 games. The first 8 games are against non-playoff teams, non-2018 playoff teams, and I said it tongue in cheek because I'm like, the Steelers are good. I could keep saying that, but the Steelers are good. I don't know if the Steelers are good anymore. I will say this: we typically cross teams off, from the playoffs. I don't think we could do that just yet.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can.
Oh, you think we can?
Yeah, can we save that? Because I had that coming up later.
Okay. All right. I was going to make it like there's only one division that's definitely going to be winning. That's the one, and that's the Patriots. And then I was going to say there are a few teams that were definitely going to come in 4th place, but we'll save it. We'll save it your way. We'll do it your way.
Well, from what I saw today, and I didn't like the Saints this year, and I was grasping for straws trying to come up with another team. I picked Tampa Bay. That was a bad choice. As I've learned over the years, and we've talked about in the podcast, you try to approach week 1 thinking certain things will happen.
Yeah.
And then once you realize it's not going to happen, audible quickly, just have no memory, move on.
Right.
The NFC South is really set up for the Saints, it looks like, because I was not impressed with the Panthers today. The Falcons were awful. And
killed us.
Winston is going to be in the XFL next year, unfortunately for him and for the XFL. So the Saints really just have to go 10-6, and they're going to win that division. It feels like.
Having not played a game, the big
winners
pretty much clinched it. They look good.
And the Pats.
Let's give Carolina a shot. I think that Rams defense is good. I don't think Cam looks particularly great, but you got a guy who could get 200 all-purpose yards a game offensively. So
did he look smaller to you?
Smaller? I mean, he wasn't wearing the hat.
Both Kyle and I thought he looked leaner.
Interesting.
I don't know if he took Tate Frazier's ringer departure to like really hard and just stopped eating, but yeah, he looked, I don't know. He just did not look like Cam. He didn't look like the supernatural athletic force today at all. Now the Rams are really good and we've learned over the years not to overreact with week one, but for that third best spot in the AFC, which I think we both thought the Steelers had it, I was really impressed by the Chargers-Colts game today. I want to talk about that in 1 second. Let's take a quick break. There's a lot to cover in week one. Chargers-Colts was the best game today, and it felt like a playoff game. The Colts blew it 19 different ways. Vinatieri, we've always joked about like, oh, that guy's my age. Like, he actually is our age. I think he's 48. Is he 48? Mm-hmm. Is he 47? And he just murdered them. He murdered them. Eric Ebron dropped a touchdown in the end zone that would have cut it to 2 about midway through the fourth quarter. Then the Chargers went all the way down. They're about to put the game away, and a safety on the Colts makes an Odell catch, one-hander, saves the game. Colts come back down. They score, get the 2-point, send it in a OT. They don't win the coin toss. Chargers come down and win it.
Yeah, they were just gassed on defense, I think.
Yep. Yeah, and it was hot here today. First game of the year, all that stuff. But I was really impressed by both teams, actually, because the Chargers were missing a couple guys, too. And the Colts, the luck thing is not a problem for them. It really isn't. The Colts are good. The luck thing, we've been talking about Ewing theory, all that stuff. I've been all in on the Colts. They were one of my $1 million picks. But I think that team's legit good. And I think one of those two teams will be the third best.
I think they could be. Well, you're not counting Baltimore. I mean, what more? I know they played a bad team, but what more do you have to see out of them?
I'd like to see them play a professional football team. Can we see that?
I know. All right, but you're right. This was a good game, but Brissett was fine. And you're right. It does seem though. We were talking about this. Your buddy Hench. Everything that seems to have gone wrong for the Chargers in the past, like they would have lost that game 4 different times, right? But now they have a kicker. Badgley's out. They have the backup, the punter, as kicker. He nails a field goal. So now they have 2 good kickers, and the teams they're playing are missing field goals. Like it was very weird. It was very un-Charger-esque, and they came in and win. And the Colts, I don't think Brissett's going to has to do a lot in some of these games. What did Mac have? 174 yards rushing?
Yeah, he was terrific. And I thought Brissett was good in that game. I thought he managed it really well, and especially that last drive in regulation, they really took their time. Kyle and I were actually going nuts because we wanted them to score, and we didn't understand why they were going so slow. But they managed it really well. And then on the Chargers side, anybody who watched them last year or grabbed Eckler or Justin Jackson on fantasy or something, like those guys are good, and they didn't really miss Gordon. And I thought that might be the case, but I thought unequivocally they didn't miss Gordon. And today was great for Dak Prescott and his agent. It was kind of the opposite for Melvin Gordon, I felt like.
Oh,
because
for sure.
Coming out of that game, if I'm the Chargers, I'm like, look, dude, we're not paying you. Sorry. You can either come back or whatever.
Derwin James is the big miss there. I mean, that guy was around, made every tackle, every play, and he was missed in their secondary, especially late when the team's trying to come back. But yeah, Melvin Gordon, these running backs have to be careful. And just because it worked for Zeke and he had the old man over a barrel, it's not going to work for everybody. And I think like Melvin Gordon's going to fall into that category.
Yeah, Zeke's a little different because when he was out there today, and granted you're playing the Giants, but we knew within a quarter that game was over. And Gallup's emergence, which we've heard about the whole offseason, he definitely had the raw skills last year, but was the classic, like, super talented, physically gifted receiver who didn't know what he was doing.
Prescott would overthrow him every 3 times a game,
So you get him going, and then now Zeke's out there. Dak's looking good. That was everything you wanted to see, I thought, in that game.
For sure, yeah.
And their defense looked good, too.
Giants. But the Giants' defense, more than anything, we could laugh about Eli and Daniel Jones, and everyone was very excited. This has got to be, I was like, he's coming in, mop-up duty. He's playing second stringers again on defense. Don't get excited about him. But yeah, it's the Giants defense that's trouble. They just look slower than everybody. They had like 9 guys who didn't start last year. They're going to be a mess. They're at the basement for sure.
I don't remember coming out of week 1 and having like 5 teams already that I've just completely written off.
Really? See, I only have the one. I only have the Giants.
Oh, you don't. The Dolphins have to be the write-off.
Oh
team.
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I thought the Lions and the Cardinals, in my opinion, are both write-off teams. Those teams stink, and that game was terrible, and it wouldn't end. Kyle and I were getting mad because the Pats were going to start, and we wanted to see the banner unveiling, all that stuff. Meanwhile, they're playing this overtime tie, and the Cards are just basically hoping for the tie, which is pathetic. Like, should they have poured not a whole Gatorade bucket on Cliff Kingsbury, but like just one of those little bottles? Just like
an airplane bottle.
Yeah, in his lower body, just like splash his groin with it or something.
Yeah, I don't. Patricia blew it. I mean, I know we say that all the time.
He's
but
bad.
This is one of those games where you just let Stafford throw, right?
Yeah.
There's 2 cornerbacks out for Arizona. He didn't have any picks going in the whole game. Just let him toss it. Why are you handing off to Kerryon Johnson in overtime on second day? Like you're playing for the tie there. Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing for the Lions.
Kyler Murray was as advertised. He looked completely overwhelmed. He was running for his life at times. And then all of a sudden when he got it going, it was kind of magical. It was really like the fourth quarter was really fun watching him. And he's terrifying. I had no money on the game. I didn't care who won. But if I was betting against him, I would have been completely petrified.
Sure.
At the end of the game. Let's
talk
about. It did
seem like he figured out football like halfway through. I think there was a stat where all through college, he only had 3 balls deflected or tipped or something, and he had 5 in that Lions game. It's like, well, yeah, NFL players are taller. I mean, I've always said that. they just are. But yeah, he had some kind of like zest in the third and fourth quarter that if they had one more quarter, they probably would have won.
Well, he hit Fitz a few times down the stretch, but he hit him on one that was like a 45-yard rope in stride. And Fitz had to be thinking like, wow, I haven't had that in 12
was
years.
That the sideline one or over the middle? Yeah, that was
It was
fun.
like he must have just been so delighted. Think of all the shitty quarterbacks that have been thrown in passes. Let's talk about a couple other week 1 storylines. Lamar Jackson is our new fantasy god.
Yeah.
He supplanted Pat Mahomes. I think 7-8 touchdowns was in play if they had just kept running it up. But this is what Mallory was on my podcast on Thursday talking about how I believed it too because he's on both my fantasy teams, how they spent this whole offseason building a team specifically for him. Last year, he was playing on Joe Flacco's offense. This year, it's a whole team built for him. And it really felt that way. And he was really good. And their young receivers were super duper exciting. They're, hard to take too much away from how bad that Miami thing was, but at least the offense felt like it belonged to him. And I was impressed. Are you jealous? You want to trade for him?
Well, no. I mean, you have 4. What do you have, like 5 quarterbacks in fantasy?
Well, I have...
I'll be able to have my pick of the litter.
I have the reeling Baker Mayfield, and I have Ben Roethlisberger.
Not jealous of that pick. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I went 1 for 3, but that's why you draft multiple quarterbacks. So,
should we talk about that game? Lamar Jackson's fantastic, and we should probably look at the AFC North odds tomorrow morning or Monday morning. But I can't believe. Can you believe now that after seeing that one game, and obviously there are favorable matchups for the Ravens and maybe not the Browns, but the Browns were favored to win that AFC North. Incredible.
We were more than dubious. We discussed this when we did both of the preseason podcasts we did. It had all the makings. My theory was that they were going to be good this week and then the wheels were going to come off. And as it turns out, the wheels just immediately came off. And there was a specific point in this game when it happened, when, they still, even though they were having a lot of penalties and stupid stuff, the Titans couldn't do anything. And then the Titans had I think it was an 87-yard drive. Mm-hmm. The Browns kept it alive with a bunch of penalties. I think they had 4 penalties on the drive. Mariota's just throwing the ball over everybody's head. He just looks terrible. Mm-hmm. But they kept getting more and more chances and more free first downs. And then finally they scored. Then the stupid left tackle on the Browns gets kicked out for kicking somebody. The backup gets hurt. We go into halftime and now they have 5 linemen. Freddie Kitchens looks like he should just be drinking like a malt 40 on the sideline.
I mean, that's the thing. Why everybody they were in love with Freddie Kitchens. You could talk about anything else, but why is this guy going to succeed? Why do you love? I get Odell Beckham Jr. I get all the Landry and everybody. Chubb, who didn't get the goal line carry. I know that killed you after you bid $79 on him.
He looked good today, though. I'm still in on Chubb.
He did everything except get it at the goal line.
He did everything except to get the carry on the 4-yard line to score a touchdown.
I don't know what they're doing, that team. But
they're in a lot of trouble.
Well, I mean, some teams are just undisciplined. We saw it with the Raiders for so many years, and it held them back. Even when they were good, it held them back. And now 18 penalties for 182 yards. You don't expect that every week, but that's bad. You need a good coach to come in there and sort that out. That could be a problem every week.
It was our biggest fear with them, and it was realized in week 1, and it had all the check marks. You know, you look at penalties, you look at dumb decisions, even their game plan. I felt like Nick Chubb could have run on them that whole game, and over again, they were, throwing the ball on weird downs. I hated the way they played. Their fans got bummed out, and now we don't get to see them again until Monday night, which we'll get into, but they're playing an equally disappointing Jets team. So maybe that'll get them going.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. It started at, I think we discussed hey, that week 2 could be a really good, insightful game in terms of the wild card. Now it might be a loser leaves town match.
It might be. I'm glad I had no money on the Browns. That game would have made me really mad. Yeah. So another thing that happened, I think Miami's 0-16 is in play. I don't think it can be counted out.
Listen to you, because when they made the trade, when they traded Tunsil, there was still 4.5. There's just no wiggle room. Now there's a lot of wiggle room, we see, if you bet under 4.5 wins for Miami, because it's going to be 0, 1, 2, or 3 probably, right?
Oh, yeah. I think the mistake was we both thought the Ravens were going to kill the Dolphins. We threw them in parlays and did stuff like that. But the move should have been to bet, the plus. Don't they have the bets like they'll win by more? Somebody will win by more than 20 points.
Sure, yeah, the ranges. Yep.
I think that's the move with Miami going forward. Speaking of bad breaks, Nick Foles broke his clavicle.
Yep.
Early. And then somebody came in and we looked him up on the ESPN scoreboard to see who it was, and it just said G Minshew. His first name was G.
Minshew, yeah.
No, I call him G. I think it's better if he goes with G. Like there's some mystery. He's G Minshew. He actually looked pretty good, but it didn't matter because the Chiefs, Watkins ran amok and they couldn't cover anybody. It was like 100 degrees. I'm not going to overreact to that game. I don't want to write off the Jaguars yet. I think the tendency would be they got killed by the Chiefs. Nick Foles is out. Cross them off, but I'm not crossing them off yet. I want to see one more.
I don't want to write off the Chiefs defense, but I feel like I might have to, because G Minshew, Washington State grad, 22 for 25, 275, and I wouldn't say it's all garbage time. They were kind of in it. They're not playing prevent defense in the second quarter. That's for sure. I think they have a lot of problems defensively. Jacksonville, Kansas City, they're gonna give up between 35 and 42, maybe 5 or 6 games this year.
Tyreek Hill is out with some sort of injury for a few weeks.
Sure.
Unclear.
Is that what they said? A few weeks? I feel like that was a karma pick for me, fantasy wise. I think what did I bid, like $41 on him? It's a karma. The whole thing's karma for him ultimately.
Well, if you're going karma, he was a loser today. So was Jameis Winston, and Ben Roethlisberger scored 3 points. So I don't know if you just want to group those 3 together in a sentence, feel free.
Yeah, right. Well, but the Patriots won. So how do you that?
Oh. So G Minshew, does he get picked up in a fantasy league?
Maybe. Let's see. They're at Houston this week. I'll have to look at their schedule. But
Kyle, do some scouting at G.
All right.
By the way, I think Kirk Cousins is on the waiver wire.
Oh, he should.
There's a lot of good quarterbacks out there.
Kirk Cousins, that was a classic. That's another team we should mention.
He was only 8 for 10 for 98 yards. I get that, but
no, that was the perfect Cousins situation though, because they had the lead the whole game. They didn't actually have to ask him to do anything. Yeah. Cook in the first half looked like he was a professional guy playing against a high school team.
Right. So much faster than everyone.
He was great. I didn't realize he was going to be all the way back like that.
Yep.
So as long as they have the lead, they'll be fine.
You had the Falcons too, right? You bet them?
I did a little money line parlay with the Colts, not for a little flyer.
Oh, right. You would have lost.
And
yeah.
I decided during the as it was going down, I don't think I've won on them since the Pats beat them in the Super Bowl. I think I'm like 0 for my last 15 Falcons bets.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a classic. Like, they were terrible. I think it was 28-0 at some point. And then Matt Ryan just lighting it up in garbage time, like always. Just he somehow got to 300 yards. He was awful for 2.5 quarters in that game. He was just absolutely
that floater he threw that was picked in the end zone. I was like, that's got to be a touchdown. Just the way he's just the loft he put on it. Just got to be a touchdown. Nope. Intercepted.
They should have put in when he runs on the ticker and it's like Matt Ryan 304 yards. It should have an asterisk and be like, none of this meant jack shit. He did nothing. So that team, I didn't like the vibe of that team at all. And
I had high hopes for them. I know. I had them as a 10-win team.
I would look at I had them at 9-7. We both thought they were going to be hanging around that playoff picture. I don't want to write them off yet, but I also think we have to introduce Dan Quinn for first coach fired.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Because they have next week.
If you go from 28-3 game on, had a bunch of injuries defensively last year, so the excuses are all over the place. But yeah,
they took care of Julio. They changed all the coordinators, all that stuff. Sunday night they're playing the Eagles in Atlanta,
and
if they have the same type of game they had today, the fans will start booing around halfway through the second quarter, and the Dan Quinn watch will be on.
For sure, yeah.
Another one where the watch will be on is Jameis, who had a pick 12 today. Didn't know that was possible. I've heard of pick sixes, but he threw a pick 12. 2 pick sixes.
He's good.
Unbelievable. The Niners could barely do anything. Although I will say George Kittle, who is not on my team in the league we're in, but he had another 2 touchdowns called back by penalties.
Really?
This should be a fantasy stat. I would want to know the leaders of this. George Kittle has 12 fantasy points wiped away. But Jameis looked bad.
Our boy Mike Francesa mentioned that George Kittle is the player that nobody knows about, the great player that nobody knows about. So I'm gonna start paying attention to that guy.
I love when people do that on Twitter.
16 million fantasy players.
I love Jamel, but she did that with Lamar Jackson today, where it was one of those tweets like everybody who thought Lamar Jackson needed to change positions or couldn't play QB. It was one of those. It was like, who thought he shouldn't be a QB? I think Bill Polian was the only person who thought that.
Right.
Have you ever been in a conversation where somebody's like, Lamar Jackson should be a slot receiver?
No.
Has that conversation ever happened?
Just email Bill Polian.
Bill Polian's like, he's
put the rest
100.
of us on notice.
We mentioned, Tom Brady. Wanted to talk about him really quickly, just as a fantasy guy. $1 at the end of our draft. Our whole draft.
You don't remember this. I think we did something maybe it was just in person. I said, this is the first year Brady isn't a starting quarterback in our fantasy league.
I got mad.
Come on, don't stop that. Don't even talk about that.
Yeah.
He went for $1. You were having a conversation when he went for $1. I was like, hold on, Simmons, listen up. Your boy's going to only go for $1. And you waved me off. Like, just let it happen. I don't want to really pay attention to it.
Yeah, and I had the extra $1 too, and it was a sad moment. And now they have Antonio Brown, and he's going to end up being a top 10 fantasy guy. One last thing about that game that I forgot to mention: it's 33-3. There's 6 seconds left. The Steelers are on the Pats 40.
Yeah, see what I mean?
And Belichick doesn't. Somebody is out there that shouldn't be out there for the Pats, and Belichick calls timeout.
Yeah.
And they cut to Tomlin, who's like, did they just fucking call timeout? He's got that look at his face. Right. Belichick's like, they're not scoring a touchdown. We have the wrong linebacker and flip him in.
It was a bizarre thing because Tomlin's kind of letting the clock go down before that play, before it stopped with 6 seconds left. He's kind of letting the clock, like Roethlisberger's got his hands in his pockets, but he's not done driving here. They want 1 or 2 more plays, the end zone. Fantasy, everyone's watching, but to call a timeout there, I don't know where there's more mental disease there with Belichick or Brown. This is going to be something. This is Alien versus Predator now.
All right, let's play some Guess the Lines.
Let's do it.
We actually have the categories back for this week, and we need them because there's a couple Poop Fecta specials. But every week we guess the lines. Whoever gets closer
gets
more
nothing.
Times. Yeah, gets hit by a Jimmy John's sub. Talking to Jimmy John's, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Jimmy John's. I want to hit you with an unwitched tuna sub because the tuna will go everywhere, all over you. It'll be great.
Oh, man. All right.
So
I'm up for it.
You
Well,
won
you're down
last
a
week.
So this is pretty brave of you.
You killed me last week. We're going to start with Thursday night, which is not that far away.
Mm-hmm.
Panthers, Bucks in Carolina. The Bucks were not good today. I have no idea what happened to Mike Evans. I kept asking Kyle if he was hurt, and Kyle was going, no, he's right there. And I'm like, well, why aren't they throwing to him?
He had like 2 catches or something?
Yeah, they weren't going to him at all. It was weird. I have the Panthers.
So his quarterback had a 45 rating today. I don't know what.
Oh, is that high?
Just out of sync.
Jesus. I went high on this because Jameis was so bad, and I just couldn't imagine him being favored or getting 7 points or less. So I went 7.5 Panthers.
Yeah, the line's right in the middle. I went 5.5. The number's 6.5. So we split that. They could probably make it a touchdown.
I would.
I will say this: San Francisco only had 256 yards. I know they didn't care; they were winning most of the game. That's maybe a better defense than we thought, or maybe San Fran sucks. I don't know.
Jimmy G had. It's funny. It wasn't the most atrocious pick six in the game, but it was singularly atrocious. Where it was one of those, he's on his own 10, looks to his left, throws the out to the receiver, and doesn't see the cornerback just already running toward the ball, and the guy just is running full speed, catches it, he's in the end zone a split second later.
Right.
Those are the worst.
Maybe that's
has Tom Brady ever had one of those, Kyle?
No, I haven't seen one of those.
No, I don't feel like he has either.
Maybe Jimmy G needs to be hit with the Jimmy John super onion sandwich, whatever it's called.
The Unwich. Sunday.
By the way, this game is a Thursday night game. They're parading these two teams out to London. Like they're showing it off like it's the Globetrotters Washington Generals rivalry. I don't know why we need to see this showcase twice.
Jesus. I can't believe. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty physical Rams game. And they're playing in 100, it was like, how hot was it in Carolina? It was hot, right? Wasn't it like 90? And now they have to play 4 days later. So that's rough. That's a tough beat for both teams. Sunday, the marquee game. The Rams are home. This is the second to last. When is this new stadium opening? It's not next year. It's 2021.
Isn't it next year?
Or is it next year? All right. Well, this is their last home opener before they have the most awesome football stadium of all time. They're playing the Rams. I'm sorry. They're playing the Saints at home. I have Rams by 4.
I had 3 and I got it. It's exactly 3.
So we haven't seen the Saints yet, which makes this one tough.
Well, I think they're both. So I'm still, as long as we're early in the season, I'm going by projected win totals. And I think they were both around 10.5, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe New Orleans.
So that's usually -3.
So it added up to -3.
Any predictions for Saints Texans while we're here?
Saints Texans?
Yeah, Monday night.
I think we're going to see a lot of points, and it's just based on that we didn't see any points basically in the Sunday night game or the Thursday night game, which was just brutal. I know we just breezed past that. We're not going to talk about Packers Bears, but I think both offenses let it fly. I would take the over. I don't know. 7 might be too high, but the over's the pick, I say.
When I was looking at the slate all week, I thought the two liveliest underdog money line picks were the Colts and the Texans. Just for the line seemed a little too high, and I think they actually have a chance to win the game. Yeah. So I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Maybe. All right. So we have 4 in the watchables. That's not bad. This is pretty good Sunday.
How badly do the Saints want this? Obviously, it's better at home. Coming off a short week, but this is the rule change game, right?
Right. And a lot of rehash about that call and the whole thing. Yeah. It could go sideways. We should mention quickly with the Rams. It was so I'd had Darrell Henderson, I think, in both of my leagues. I thought he was the backup. And then this dude, Malcolm Brown, came in and looked good and got most of the non-Gurley love. There was a report before the Rams game. I think Chris Mortensen said, it was Jay Glazer. I'm sorry. Said how the Rams basically have no idea with Gurley's knee. They're just going to play him and see how it goes. It was like, really? It's that bad? They have no idea what's going to happen with his knee. They're just playing him. So he looked okay. He didn't look like 2 years ago, Todd Gurley, but he didn't look gimpy or anything. But they were definitely really careful with him. The big difference is Kupp. And there was a couple big plays in the game today where you just forget how important he was with them. And I know everybody spent the summer going, you forget how good Cooper Kupp is, but watching the actual game, there were plays where he's just the guy. He seems like he's the guy Goff likes the most. So
sure, when it's 3rd and 7, how many guys in the league would you rather have on the field better than Kupp when it's 3rd and 7? Like,
and he looks great too. Their defense looked good too. I thought that was a good game for them.
If you look at the box score, he's like, 14 for 97 Gurley, 11 for 53 for Malcolm Brown. Give me that every week.
Yeah.
I'll take that every single week, and the receivers could split it up however they want offensively.
And there was also a moment when it seemed like they might blow that game. Zerline missed a field goal. It seemed they had a chance to blow it open, and then they settled for a field goal, and then the Panthers just kind of kept lingering, and then the Rams kind of got out of there with the win, which I like seeing. So we got 4 for the watchables. First one is Packers at home against the Vikings. Now, the Packers offense in that Thursday night game basically for 58 minutes was in a coma and had that one great drive where they scored the touchdown, but the defense looked great.
Defense looked good. I think the Bears defense is really good, and I think the Vikings defense is really good. Yeah.
So I have the Packers are home against the Vikes, and I have the Packers by 3, and this feels like a physical, low-scoring game. I actually think this will be a good game.
Yeah, we both picked 3, and Vegas picked 3 as well. So
this does
it's
feel
tough. I think I might just sit and watch this. I'm not sure I saw enough out of either team. I don't know. The Vikings kind of didn't have to play the second half, and Green Bay kind of didn't play the second half.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was weird.
I think it's a stay away as well. I don't trust Cousins.
Yeah,
and I do think if you're betting Kirk Cousins against Rodgers, whether Rodgers is in a post-prime portion of his career, whether he still has his fastball, there is that moment where in the third quarter, at some point you realize like, oh my God, I bet on Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And you know what?
I think this Packers defense is really good.
Yeah.
They got that Adrian Amos from the Bears, which, he made a big play in the game. Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith, they got all these free agents. And by the way, I think Clay Matthews was holding them back. I really do. I think if you ever want to know if a guy's holding you back, like, hey, can you cut your hair this week? I want to see if you look as impressive. Because I think like
get a crew cut.
You're a white guy flying around with long hair. We kind of think you're better than you are.
Right.
And you're a Matthews. I don't know. So look for them to be stingy on it.
Second watchable game. The Dolphins are home against the Patriots of New England. Now, normally I would have put this in the poop vecta.
How is this watchable?
Well, because it's Antonio Brown's first game.
Okay.
Like, this is 100% watchable for that. And you know they're going to get him involved. And you know he's going to do something ridiculous, and it's going to be great.
Is Antonio Brown anywhere as good as Marquise Brown? Because that guy put up 750 yards. Good Lord.
They got a little something with that receiving core. I liked all their skill guys. I really, hopefully that's not the peak of the season for them when beating the terrible Dolphins. But anyway, for Miami's home, I went over 14 points for this. I feel like you have to. I settled at Patriots by 15.5 in Miami.
I said they'd be favored by 36. I was leaning 36, 36.5. I wasn't sure what I was going to say. No, I said 16, and I'm like, well, that's still going to be low. But you're right. It's 14.5. You're closer, and you get that.
It ends around 15.5, 16, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think? Why wouldn't
it? Sure. I mean, who's crazy enough to bet the Dolphins? I felt bad for Josh Rosen. I was like, he must be hiding. He's hiding behind cheerleaders over there. He doesn't want any part of this game.
I have a weird Patriots theory I'm going to throw at you. In the past, the Pats, I don't know if you knew this, but the Pats have been good for a long time. And they have this habit of when they would dominate a team for a while or whatever, they would ease up or the team would get some garbage time stuff and the final result would be a little closer than the game actually was. I think their secondary is so good this year that I think it's going to be really hard for bad teams to score on them even in garbage time.
I feel like we could say what we want about I think you're right about the timeout with 6 seconds left, but I kind of feel like they made a deal with Belichick and said, let's see how long we can go without giving up a touchdown.
Yeah, I think the defense.
Can we go September?
I think the defense is a real story with this team. It really the secondary, like Harmon, started in playoff games for them and is now like a dime back. Yeah. It's just They're just loaded. So I think in a game like this, if they're up like 28-3, 28-7, it's still going to be hard to score on them. Even if they have backups playing, the guys are still pretty good.
Yeah. Find out if there's a side deal, because that could help us gambling wise.
This is a perennial nightmare game for the Patriots. I just want to point that out. I'm required to point that out.
Well, but I think that makes it unlosable.
So every week we cross a team off that we've decided will not make the playoffs. I am willing to do that with the Dolphins right now. I think there is a 0% chance to make the playoffs. The Dolphins, welcome. Welcome to the eliminator pool. You've been eliminated.
Good job. Good job by you. Go on vacation, Miami. You live in Miami. You don't really have to go vacation far, but you're not long for this season.
Next watchable game is the Steelers in Pittsburgh playing a Seattle team that I can't say the Seahawks fans were that fired up by the end of that game. That was brutal. I know you did it again. You hate throwing the Seahawks into those parlays, teases, because they will do this against shitty teams at home. They've done it to us again and again. We both threw them in a parlay. Had to sweat out fucking Andy Dalton. And
well, what we forget is Andy Dalton's a decent quarterback. There are a lot of bad teams with bad quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He's a good, decent quarterback on a really bad team. So he's gonna screw you 1 or 2 or 3 weeks out of the year. So you have to be careful. And Mixon got hurt. We really, really, really got lucky with Seattle. You know how many yards they had on offense?
It wasn't great.
150.
Mixon was another karma guy I went down today.
Yeah. 150 yards. How did they win that game? It's insane.
The shocking thing to me was I thought Metcalf was going to be like a gimmick this year. And
no, Russ likes him.
Not only does Russ like him, I was shocked by how much they were going to him.
Mm-hmm.
He was like the new Doug Baldwin. He's like
or
Doug
how much
Baldwin.
They weren't going to Lockett, Tyler Lockett.
Well, who then ended up making the big play. But like Metcalf is like Doug Baldwin after the Incredible Hulk, after he takes the Incredible Hulk serum.
Did that feel like Andy Dalton's greatest game ever, yards wise? He threw for 418, and they had like 17 points deep into the fourth. But that's such a weird feel, that game.
Yeah, well, you said it best. He is like weirdly underrated because he's the guy you don't want to bet on in a wild card game. But in a game where he's a 9-point underdog against Seattle, and Seattle's already thinks they just have to show up and win, like he's actually pretty frisky. But, the biggest play in that game that kept them around was that ridiculous pseudo Hail Mary at the end of the first half, where the Seahawks just kind of misjumped it.
These D-backs need to play preseason. If you misjudge that's really bad.
So that really kind of skewed how this game went. But
yeah.
So I have the Steelers laying 3.5 at home against Seattle.
I had you out here. I said 4. It's actually up to 5. Or it opened at 5, and it's 5. Because I think they're thinking, now that I look at it, you can't go 2 games behind Baltimore. I know we can't say it's over, but the wild card maybe most likely not coming from this division, I'm thinking. And do you want to fall 2 behind Baltimore? It's a bad look.
Well, and they're also factoring in Pittsburgh playing football for the first 7 days of the year for them. So that'll be great.
Something that resembled it, at least. Yeah.
I thought Seattle was going to be better, and I don't know what to make of that performance by them today. But
Does it drive you crazy that Russell Hustle and Bustle Man Muscle Wilson doesn't call his own number more than once a game now? Like only when he needs it in the last drive or something?
Well, I felt the same way about him that I feel with Trubisky.
Yeah.
Where you have these guys who are phenomenal athletes and they're not rolling out and using their gifts to kind of, if you're rooting against them or if you're betting against them, it's always the scariest when Wilson's kind of scampering around and you don't know if he's going to throw a pass. And they weren't really doing that with him.
They never seem to fix that offensive line for him. But the one play I'm talking about, and Chris Carson's good, but you shove it in his stomach, he moves forward for 2 yards, and then you see Russ. Oh my God, he could really just boot it out.
That play, yeah, you're right.
For 7, but he didn't. He did it once all game.
Yeah, he always feels like they have the shackles on him for some reason.
Yeah.
They don't ever kind of let him roam free. Last watchable game. This is just a tribute to Lamar and what we saw today, but I have Ravens Cardinals in Baltimore as a watchable because Lamar versus Kyler Murray is going to be really fun. That will absolutely be on one of my TVs. It's going to happen. I have the Ravens favored by 8.
I had 10.5, and it's 13. Vegas doesn't think this is as watchable as you
Oh
might.
my God. Wow. So what do you think that line was a week ago? It must have been like 7 or 8, right?
I don't know, 10 or 11. I don't think they give
What?
any of the rookie quarterbacks that much juice on the road.
Oh man, I don't agree with that at all. That's too high.
No?
Yeah. I also won't be betting in Arizona, so there you go.
Well, I was looking at it as well. You don't want this teaser. You don't want any part of that teaser. Anything over 10 points. But in terms of an eliminator pool, if you don't want to use New England, that's a pretty good one.
Let's take a quick break. All right, we're gonna do the barely watchables. The Chargers are in Detroit. The Lions fans, they just have to be feeling good. Another killer Lions season, off to a great start. They're 0-1. Feel the excitement. Little 0-1 start. I have the Chargers getting 3.5 on the road in Detroit.
You had the Chargers giving 3.5.
Giving
right?
3.5. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. I had them giving 3, and it is 3. So,
are you going to beat me again?
What's the bar say? Yeah, it's 6-3 if you include the tie.
You talk about the Patriots cheating. Jesus.
Matt Patricia, I don't know. Yeah, and especially like we said, Vikings and Packers are going to be good. You know the Bears will be good too. Maybe not 12 wins good, but they lost their first game last year and ended up with 12. So Detroit really shot themselves in the foot with a tie this week.
I'll tell you this much. If that line stays at 3, I'm not going to be able to resist the Chargers.
Really?
Even though I don't like the road favorites, especially this early in the season, but I just don't think the Lions are good.
I'm looking at the Chargers differently now. I know travel is a bitch for these teams when you're up, butting up against your bye week and everything, but I don't see a lot of true road games for them because they play at home and that's a road game, So
I like that win for them today. I really thought the Colts were good. That was a nice one. Speaking of the Colts, they are in Tennessee, and whatever this line ends up being, I'm going to be betting the Colts. I'm just telling you now. I think Vegas jacked this a 0.5 point higher than it should be. I have Titans by 3.5.
You and I both at 3.5. It's only 3.
Okay.
Vegas not as impressed with the Titans. I think they know that they're not going to play a team that's going to allow, go
18
for
penalties.
182 yards of penalties every week. I think that's a fair line.
We need a derisive nickname for Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah.
Like Freddie Malt 40. He just seems like he should be hanging outside the 7-Eleven in like Kansas City.
I felt bad. I think the last time we
somebody.
did our podcast, I was telling you we were going to do a comedy bit at Lock It In with Hugh Jackson.
Yeah.
And we saw Hugh, and I really didn't know what to say to him. I really got like starstruck a little. I was like, "You look good. Resting makes you good. Makes you look good. You look healthy." I had no idea what to say. This poor guy wants a job, something. He can't catch on some kind of like defensive line coach or something.
Can't you just?
Yeah, thanks.
Can't you just add him to Lock It In? Why
I
can't
guess
he just be in the show?
A fifth box, a fourth box.
You guys, it's an hour-long show, and Hugh could be the producer, and you could continually just run out of time each week. Just 5 minutes of the show left, but it's 5:30.
Poor Hugh.
Poor Hugh. I hope
he
he
must
makes
have
a comeback.
enjoyed that today.
Yeah, listen, he's not worse than Freddie Kitchens was.
No,
No
not so
Hugh
far.
Jackson game has ever gone worse than that game did. Jesus. Freddie, I'll see you outside the 7-Eleven at 11:45 tonight. Cowboys are in Washington.
Wait, did we pick that? Oh, I guess we did, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was okay.
Cowboys are in Washington. Washington got more than frisky in the first half of that Eagles game and was conspiring to mess up every eliminator pool and parlay and everything. And then the Eagles rallied back, and then the Redskins went away. And now
I think I told you like the 9-point favorites or higher in week 1 were 7-17 or 7-19 against the spread. It's just like too tough a hill to climb if you don't score in the first quarter. And that's exactly what happened with the Eagles this week.
Well,
even though they were covering.
So John Ewing from the Action Network, he had a stat today after the Eagles they did not cover that Redskins game.
Mm-hmm.
that since 1993,
Yeah.
the highest favorite is 12-24 in week 1.
Is that what it is? Wow.
Yeah. I was surprised. I wish we had known that. We could have shorted the Eagles this week.
Well, we could have shorted the Eagles. I love Seattle. I just thought they were going to run all over Cincinnati, but it didn't happen. But
I still like it. I know the game was already played, but I still like the Seahawks. Let's go back in time. I have the Cowboys laying 4 points in Washington.
Boy, I'm never this confident in my team. I promise you I'm not. You know I'm not. I said 7. But you're closer. It's 5. So you take it.
So you think you signed Dak this week?
No, we don't have to do that. Everyone's got a not everyone's going to be signed every week that they have a good game, right? We're going to have to give him $50 million. That was crazy.
You know who was in the owner's booth today was the great one, Dirk Nowitzki.
Oh, was he in there?
Yeah, there's a picture of him, which reminded me, I've never brought this up to you on a pod, but Mark Stein is convinced that Dirk Nowitzki is the most popular Dallas athlete of all time. And it's a take that drives the Cowboy fans crazy. They refuse to accept it, but then they can't name a Cowboy who was more popular in Dallas than Dirk Nowitzki.
I have to say, I've been out to, I don't want to talk out of school, but we've been out to dinner with Romo. I was out there in Dallas, and I think he mentioned that only Dirk gets a greater response when he walks in, because I think he's immediately recognizable.
Yeah,
it's too he's
7
too
foot
big
German
to not approach.
Texans are home for the Jags, and unfortunately, we haven't seen the Texans yet, so it's a tough one to guess. We do know that what's his name, G Minshew?
Yeah, Gardner Minshew.
G Minshew is going to be the QB for the Jags. So I have the Texans by 6. I'm picking Texans by 6 blind, having not seen them this season.
I went higher. Same thing I thought with Kyler Murray. No, the rookie on the road thing doesn't even. You're playing against the blackjack dealer has a 6 showing. Doesn't really matter. That's the rookie quarterback on the road. So you have to give it close to 8 or 9. I said 7.5. It's actually 9.
Oh, so it's an extra field goal for G.
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked Minshew. The Chewy.
It's hard. It's so hard.
Chew?
Like the Chiefs they screw you up. You don't know how good your defense is. You don't know how good your offense is because their defense is so bad. It's really like a throwaway game when you play that.
G baby. Did you think LaShawn McCoy looked like somebody who is going to? Let me give you 3 choices. A, take Damian Williams' job. B, do just enough to ruin Damian Williams' fantasy season. Or C, get hurt in 2 weeks and it's not going to matter.
Oh, interesting. I think, I have Damian Williams, so I can answer that. And I'm now 1-14 in the last 15 games in our league.
Yeah.
After dropping one tonight. So I think just by that, I would say he'll do just enough to screw with Damian Williams' stats.
Well, I have good news. You've just been named the new Browns coach.
Who has? LaShawn McCoy?
No, you have. Sal.
Oh, okay.
They heard you were 1-14 in your last 15, and they just said you've been hired. Congrats.
No, that's too impressive a resume. I thought LaShawn was brought in just to be like Andy Reid's buddy. Like, we have no room for you, but just hang out and stay out of trouble.
Yeah, but if they hadn't done that, do you think they would have been a real player for Antonio Brown? It's possible.
Oh, wow.
Because that honestly would have freaked me the fuck out if the Chiefs had gotten him. Yeah. That's a night. Imagine him, Tyreek, and Watkins.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And Kelsey. Oh.
Right.
Thank God that didn't happen.
I know. Well, but the Patriots signed Brown back in May, so it couldn't have happened.
Until you can find the emails, it didn't happen.
We can't find, you talk about Brady texting with Antonio Brown, and Antonio Brown's like, probably like, I don't know about this. And Brady's like, relax, I'll just throw my phone in the trash if they ask for it.
I'm only laughing because we're going to go 14-2.
I know.
Chiefs at Oakland. Wow. With Oakland, yet another team we haven't seen yet.
Short week, go play against the Chiefs. That's fun.
And you're home.
Yeah.
I kept this under 10 because of the Tyreek Hill thing. I went Chiefs by 9.
Yeah, you edged me out. I said 8.5. It's actually it is 9.
Oh, am I still alive?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8-6. How many do we have?
We have 5 games left.
Including tie. Oh, yeah.
Great.
You're still alive.
There was a scary moment in that Chiefs game when Mahomes went in the tent.
Yeah.
And it looked like somebody fell on his leg and had shades of Brady 11 years ago, but it was fine. But I realized that I love the Patriots more than anything about football. I didn't want Mahomes to get hurt. I was like, no.
That's good.
Yeah, I was like,
That's
come on.
nice, you.
Mahomes,
Yeah,
are you
wanna-
okay? Like, I love watching Mahomes. I didn't want to lose Mahomes.
You know, it's funny. This isn't quite parent corner, but my son, freshman in high school, is in now 3 fantasy leagues.
Yeah.
And he had Antonio Brown. And when the Raiders dumped him, he was like, oh, man, what a waste. What a wasted pick, second-round pick. What am I going to do? And then Saturday morning, I was like, you know, the Patriots are the odds-on favorite to sign him. He says, oh, no, really? I said, what are you complaining about? Do you have him on your fantasy team? He's like, I will gladly lose and be the butt of all jokes and go winless in my fantasy league in front of all my friends in school instead of having the Patriots have him. That what does that show you? That ninth graders are willing to be the butt of the joke in exchange for the Patriots not winning.
I just lost a ton of respect for him.
I kind of did too.
That's terrible. God, what kind of kids are you raising?
I don't know.
Jesus. You know, I was flying back from San Francisco. I went to a Metallica show on Friday night.
Oh,
I saw Metallica with the San Francisco Orchestra in the new Golden State basketball arena, which is amazing.
Speaking of losing respect,
Downtown San Francisco, the Metallica was unbelievable. I'm so glad I went. Yeah, it was really something. But on the way back, the Antonio Brown got released, and we hadn't taken off yet. I was with Fennessy, and it was like, you don't think he'd go to the Pats? It was like one of those. You don't think he'd go to the Pats, do you now?
Mm-hmm.
And I did a tweet about Belichick, joking that Belichick asking Ben Watson to switch from 84 to 89.
Oh, yeah, you did, didn't you? Yeah.
So then, 6 hours later, he's on the Patriots. But then they tweeted and he did some Instagram or Snapchat stuff with the Brown Patriots 84. But Ben Watson's 84. So what happens if Ben Watson's like, fuck you, dude, I've been 84 my whole career. You're not getting it. Pick a new number.
You can't say that to AB.
What if he does, though? It's a free country. Ben Watson can do what he wants. What if he's like, I'm not giving you 84? And
then
then
they'll just give him some of his $15 million he got and say, here, now you're 80. Now you're 89.
What if Ben Watson's like, you're a dick. I'm not giving you 84. Pick another number. And then Antonio Brown has another freak out like he did with the helmet. He's like, I can't play unless I have 84.
You know,
and
what?
then he sits out. Like, these are my nightmares now that Antonio Brown's on my team, that he might sit out because he doesn't get a number.
I like where you're going with this. I'm going to do a Kickstarter for Ben Watson to keep the number 84.
Well, Belichick will just wave Ben Watson and be like, Ben, you're giving him 84 or you're going to have another team.
I forgot about that part. Yeah.
We didn't do Bears Bronco, which is the last barely watchables. We have not seen the Broncos yet. We both have them in a couple of wagers that we need them to come through on Monday night.
I think you
against the Raiders.
underrated this game. I mean, because I have Denver as winning 10 games this year, but it's going to be fun.
Here's why
Fangio against his old team.
Here's why I didn't underrate it and why I made it a barely watchable. I don't want to watch Trubisky for a while. I'm not saying I never want to watch him again, but I need a few weeks to regroup from first game of the year. So excited to have my first football bets down.
Yeah.
And he just bends over. It was like watching some crazy dude just bend over in the middle of the street and stop traffic by taking a shit all over the road. That's how it was for 3 hours. And I don't want to watch him play football for at least a month.
Well, I think it gets easier for him. I'm not saying this game because he's going a mile high and the Denver swarms on defense anyway. But last week or Thursday night, he had like 40% pressures.
Yeah.
Trubisky. That only happened once last year, or 42%, somewhere in there. So he'll have some good games. This is just unfortunate. He's hitting these dynamite defenses back to back.
Well, I have the Bears in Denver laying 3 points.
Yeah, who gets this? So I thought this was a pick, and the Denver is giving 1.5.
Oh, so you get it because I'm 4.5 points off.
Yeah, I get that one. But I get it, but I don't get it. I don't know. The Bears seem to need it more. Well, again, we haven't seen Denver. I don't know. I guess short week.
In my head, I was just thinking the Bears defense looked really good last week, and they're playing Joe Flacco. So what am I missing?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that might be it. That could be all you need to know about this game. But doesn't Denver, don't they go like 5-1 in the first 6 every year?
They always do start out nicely. Yeah. We have 4 games left. We are now moving to the Poop Fecta division of games. There's 2 this week. The first one is definitely poopy. It's not as bad as the second one. Bengals. Actually, it is as bad. Bengals at home against the 49ers and Jimmy G. I have the Bengals laying 1.5. I had no idea what to do with this game. What do you have?
Yeah, you get this, but by the slimmest of margins. I said Bengals -2. 49ers -2 is the spread.
Wow. So Vegas liked them today, too, and they came through. What are they seeing with the 49ers that I'm not seeing? What am I missing?
I don't know. I was trying to look at the win totals. So the 49ers, I guess, have better win total than Cincinnati. I'm not sure because they didn't have a lot of yards either. What did we say San Francisco had?
Didn't have a lot of yards.
256 or something?
Secondary was pretty good. Running game, no. Jimmy G up and down is being kind. And some dumb penalties, but I can't say I was like impressed by them in the game today. It seemed like Tampa probably should have
definitely loses games he's supposed to win, but I don't see the pick 12 in this game, which seems to help a team a lot.
Well, if we see the pick 12 again, Jameis won't be seen week 3. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
The other poop factor game
with the pick 12. Yeah.
The Giants are home, and they will be playing the Bills of Buffalo. And we should mention, Bills-Jets, not the greatest game ever. I don't think we'll be seeing it on the NFL greatest games or any of that stuff. But Kyle and I were both impressed by Josh Allen, who, even if he's erratic as a passer and maybe not the number one guy you'd want to run a team, if you're picking best quarterbacks, he does really carry himself like a quarterback. Like he definitely is a leader. And I thought he really came through down the stretch. I thought he was pretty good late. Now, CJ Mosley was out.
Like they had nothing. I think these two have decent defenses too. So yeah. I feel bad for Jets fans. They had it right there.
Yeah.
They really didn't have to do a lot to win this game. I know Darnold got sacked 4 times and didn't look sharp down the stretch, but I feel bad. Imagine people thought the Jets could win that division. There seemed people that actually thought that they were going to contend.
Well, so when did Mosley get hurt in that game?
Yeah, I guess it was was it second or third quarter? Because he had a touchdown, so that helped.
My Jets friends were saying how he was looking really good early and then somehow disappeared. But the Bills, Singletary looked good too, and they didn't really unleash him completely in the game. But I'll be interested to see what he does. So I had Bills by 1 against the Giants in New York.
I had Bills by 2.5, and I got it exactly. I know you're gonna think I'm cheating.
Nah, you're gonna be
a shade under 3.
You're hitting me.
I don't know how
Jimmy
you could
John's.
Give the Giants anything less than 3.
That is, I could see Saquon rushing for like 380 yards.
Really?
The best running back I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. He did it today.
He did something.
He busted one today.
He fumbled. Did you see how he fumbled?
Yeah.
It was the first time Saquon's ever fumbled in his life, dating back to 7 years old. And then the next play, he took off, embarrassed the edge for the Cowboy. Just ran right around him. Like, oh boy, this is going to suck tonight. And maybe he gets it back this week.
Sunday night game is in Atlanta. We mentioned it earlier. Falcons against the Eagles. I do not think the Falcons showed enough to be favored by 3 in this game. I have Falcons by 2.
That's exactly what I had. Vegas has Philly by 1.
Oh man, they saw the same.
They love Philly. They have them right around 10 wins anyway. So
they saw the same horrible Falcons energy that we saw in this game. We didn't talk about how much fun it is to have Deshaun Jackson back in the Eagles and the beauty of certain players on certain teams who aren't superstars, but when they're in the uniform, it all kinds of falls into place for them. Just kind of like it.
That was bizarre. That was 2013 Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
Speed, everything. Ability to create separation. Insane. He had 154 yards. It's scary.
I don't want to do this blind without looking up the stats, but I would say that he has probably gotten more 40-plus yard touchdowns than just about anybody this decade, right? Wow. Wouldn't you say?
Would you include like returns and everything?
Just seems like 6-7 times a year he has Even
Yeah,
when
maybe.
he was on bad teams, he still finds a way to break a play. He did one today, but I liked having him on the Eagles. I thought that was
I know
really
I
fun.
had him under 4 touchdown receptions last year, and he had 4 in the first 2 weeks and ended up with 4. So it was one of my luckier bets. But this is a different beast with the Eagles. It sucks. And Wentz, I'm going to say this. I've been crapping on Wentz all summer, but he kind of looks like Brady back there on third down. I feel like there's not any kind of throw he can't make on third down in the pocket.
Well, he put up 28 fantasy points today quietly. First half he was doing nothing. Then all of a sudden it took off.
Scary.
That was a good win for them though. You know, they got a little tested.
Yep.
But what'd you think of the rookie running back?
Oh, I didn't get to see him too much. Sanders?
Yeah, he looked pretty good.
Did he?
Last game. I'm calling it up, sorry. Browns Jets Monday night. Do you want to call this a loser leaves town match?
I kind of think we do, right? If the Ravens are 2-0 and the Browns are 2-0, what kind of odds are you going to have to get on the Browns to make the playoffs? And then we know the Jets aren't winning division. I don't care if they win by 50 this game.
If you had to pick 6 AFC playoff teams right now, who would you pick? The dumbest question of all time, because we've had one game and we've had no injuries yet.
It sucks that I'm going to have to ditch the Steelers, because did you have the Steelers winning the division?
Yeah, I still have them as one of the 6. I
I'll
do
the
slow.
same thing. I'll take 3 playoff teams from the AFC West, not having seen Denver. I'll take Houston in the South, not having seen them play. I'm going to stick with Pittsburgh and New England.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to narrow it to 6. I think there's probably 8.
Oh, well, you told me 6.
No, I know.
I can give you 8.
I just wanted to force you to do something that I didn't want to do. No, if I had to do 6, I had the Denver in the Chargers spot, but after watching the Chargers today, I kind of wish I'd flipped that. But definitely at least 2 from the AFC West. And then I think the Colts are going to be a playoff team.
Wow.
Baltimore, I'm not ready to call a playoff team yet. But I would still take the pedigree of Pittsburgh over Baltimore. But I think
the Colts play some crazy quarterbacks. Like, it doesn't even matter. I think we went over it, but they obviously played Deshaun Watson twice. We saw that they played Rivers. I think they have Breeze and Mahomes in there somewhere, and Big Ben.
I would say the thing I would bet on is that I think the AFC East and the AFC North only has one playoff team. So if it's not Pittsburgh, it would be Baltimore and vice versa.
That's looking right.
And then I think I could see Indy, Houston, Chargers, Denver, KC, 4 of those 5.
Well, but then are you taking where's the other NFC? So you're taking like Green Bay, Minnesota. You're taking one from the North, one wild card from the North.
I was talking AFC.
Yeah, no. I thought you said NFC for a second.
I'm sorry. I meant AFC.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I'm saying AFC East, AFC North. I think 2 playoff teams total out of those divisions.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Monday night, Browns, Jets. I have Browns 3.5 at the Jets.
Now, why are they doing this? Because this was the first Monday night game ever?
Is that why?
I think so. Like, this is what anniversary of Monday Night Football? I think that's the only reason they're sticking us with this. But
I'm still disappointed in Michelle Tafoya's Thursday Night Football outfit when they're like, it's been 100 years, and Al and Chris are dressed like Grantland Rice in the 1920s, and it's like, let's go to Michelle.
Right.
And she doesn't look like she's dressed in the 1920s.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Like she should look like Glenn Close in The Natural or something. She should look completely absurd. And it's like, all right, you have a cute little hat on that maybe nobody would wear anymore, but nobody would be like, oh my God, you look like you're in 1920. Come on, Michelle,
like,
commit to the bit.
Jackholes could dress up. You could play dress up. I'm not doing it. Did we talk about how that's not the greatest rivalry of all time?
Which one?
Packers-Bears.
What is the greatest rivalry of all time?
I'm sorry, it's not Packers-Bears. How many Packers-Bears games do you remember?
I mean, how many in my lifetime? Like, probably none.
That's what
Have they ever been good at the same time?
That's exactly it. I think at 3 years out of the last half century, they've both been good. There are so many better Patriot Jet games than there were Packers-Bears.
Yeah, that's stupid. I don't agree with that at all.
Greatest rivalry of all time.
So you beat me again.
All right. Oh, so I said -1. I said the Jets would be favored by 1. You said Cleveland by 3.5. You're going to win this. It's Cleveland by 2.5.
Yeah, but you beat me for the week.
8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I did. Get that Jimmy John's ready.
So that cheers you up.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We still have to watch. I'm betting the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. That's it. What's it going to be? 5.5, 6 to 1? I'm just going to do it.
Can I read you the Steelers decade?
Their decade? Yeah.
2010, lose the Super Bowl. 2010, lose a wild card playoff game to Tim Tebow. 2012 and 13, no playoffs. 2014, playoff loss to the Ravens. 2015, playoff loss to Peyton Manning during the year when he had his arm that was made out of facility. 2016, made the AFC title game, got destroyed by the Patriots. 2017, they blew a playoff game to Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that one.
I do remember.
2018, no playoffs, and on the last game, their best player decided not to play. 2019, it all turns for the Steelers fans. They've decided that they just can't stand Antonio Brown. They want the Raiders thing to go as badly as possible for him. And it does. And they spend the whole week celebrating this. And then he ends up on the New England Patriots. And then they lose to the Patriots 33-3 on opening night. Ladies and gentlemen, that was your Pittsburgh Steelers decade. Thank you, and please drive through.
They went to great lengths to keep Antonio Brown off the Patriots. Like, I don't know if the Patriots would have paid him $50 million in March, but they would have given up the draft picks.
I'm going to read an email from Carter Wright. The combination of Bill's excitement over the NFL season starting and his cockiness about the Patriots has led me to turn off every BS podcast this week. Will someone please get him to stop acting like such an arrogant asshole so I can listen to the podcast sometime this season?
Carter.
Or get House or Sal to offer some resistance when he gets up on his high horse. I can think of some fertile subject matter for doing so. Taping the Rams practice, employing a murderer, massage parlors, etc. Sincerely, Carter Wright.
Aw.
Carter, I've tried all of that.
First of all, we didn't tape the Rams practices.
The Patriots hoist the Lombardi Trophy. There's not, there's nothing we could do, really.
We didn't tape the Rams practices. That was a lie.
Oh, here come more lies. Yeah.
We might have employed a murderer. The massage parlor, all charges were dropped.
Pictures weren't, though.
It's my defenses. Well, haven't seen it yet. All right, we're going to do Parent Corner, but we're going to take one more break. All right, it's time for Parent Corner. It's brought to you by CarMax, America's #1 used car retailer. As parents, we have enough to worry about without stressing over used car shopping. At CarMax, you've got a full week to decide if it's the right car for your family. CarMax cars are covered by a 7-day money-back guarantee. Take it to work, school, soccer practice. Find out if it's the perfect car for you. If it's not, bring it back within 7 days for a full refund. No questions asked. It's that easy at CarMax. No regrets guaranteed. Check them out today at CarMax.com. Sal, what do you got?
All right, I got two quick ones. I'll tell you about my 5-year-old who is playing soccer. Now, he was on this team last season, actually like in the spring, with all his friends in school. Every one of them. There was like 6 friends in his preschool class. They were all on this baseball team. They were the Mets. He loved it. We got along with the parents. We held the end of the year party at our house. They weren't insufferable, the parents. I actually liked them, which is tough for me. It was great. Now they have this soccer team in the fall. And Harrison, my son, is 2 days too old to be in that league. The soccer, the way they sort out the ages for the soccer is different than the way they do it for baseball. So he's 2 days too old. There's a kid on the team that's 2 days younger than him. But my son can't do it because he's 2 days too old. So he has to play on another team. But the coach offers this. He says, hey, I'll just order an extra jersey. He could show up. He's 5. Who gives a shit? That, they're not competing for a giant trophy here. The other coaches are going to know. There's no roster. He's not going to call me out. And that'll be that. He can come in as a sub, or there's always 2 kids that can't make it or whatever. I was like, that sounds really good. My wife's like, no, let's do this by the book. They'll probably let us do that anyway, but let's just let the league decide. I was like, I don't think it's a good idea, but go ahead. Godspeed. Do it. Sure enough, calls up, gets a commissioner on the phone or through email. There are absolutely no exceptions. He cannot play with his friends. He's going to have to be on this other team. So now she's furious. And now I'm not furious. Now I'm like, well, This is your fault. You screwed this up. We could have had the extra jersey. We could have ordered it. It would have been fine. And now he has to play on this other team. And not only now is he playing on this other team, they moved that game for some reason, the schedule. There's 3 games on Sunday. So I have to see. Everything was great. Everything was lined up for a Saturday season. Now he has half the schedule is on Sunday. And their practices are Saturday at 2. So 2 weekend days are ruined for 5-year-old soccer.
I have a question.
In the middle of the day, Saturday. I was like, what kind of maniac?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why are they having practice for 5-year-olds? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. What are they doing?
I said.
5-year-olds run around like a chicken with their head cut off. There's no practice for them.
That's what I said. I was like, well, he shouldn't go to the practices. We have a couple of beach days left. We have a million things going on. Why at 2:00 do we have to bring him to practice? Like, well, maybe he won't play. Maybe they won't play him. I was like, this is not a scholarship team. Like, I don't get it. So that's that. We're stuck with Saturday and Sunday. Real quick, the older one, the freshman, has a game in Anaheim football.
Yeah.
On Thursday. I'm driving out there. I'm about halfway there, and I get a call from my wife saying the game is canceled because it's too hot.
Oh,
too
my
hot
God.
in Anaheim. It's 90 and it's humid and they don't want to take any chances. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I know I played through heat like this. I don't want to be the old man saying this, but first of all, this reminds me of the NFL, what we talked about. Why are they scheduling early September games in Carolina and Tampa Bay if they know there's going to be a storm hitting? Same thing here. Same weather in Anaheim every September 10th. Have their games on the road. No, that's it. So I had to turn back. I was like in traffic for 4 hours, but that's that. I'm done.
That's brutal. I can't believe they have practice for 5-year-olds. What is going on with this country?
Yeah, isn't that? It's like, the coaches are nuts. They love it. I was like, if they love it so much, take off work Friday. We'll do Friday at 5 or something.
You throw a soccer ball out with people wearing uniforms of 2 different teams.
Yeah.
And all of them just cluster around the ball. What are they going to practice? Just running into each other?
I was like, you know what? He's not going to remember any of this. He might remember playing with his friends that he grew up with. That would have been cool. But all right, take that away. What are we going to do?
What's his birthday?
When's his birthday? December 30th. So there's a kid who was born January 2nd who's on the team.
Oh, man, that's a tough sports birthday.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah.
Is it? I never even thought about it.
Zoe has a friend that she played soccer with when they were kids all the way through. And then when California switched to, instead of whatever the cutoff date was, it became the actual birth year.
Mm-hmm.
And her friend was December 31st, 2004. So had to play with the 2004. She was like the youngest person in the whole league. And then, but if you were like January, February the following year, then you're the oldest kid. It's like the Gladwell book.
Yeah.
The outliers with the hockey players. But
this is why that book.
When people ask me for advice for parenting, the only thing I say is, if you think your kids are going to be athletic, try to game it so that they're born like late January, early February. That's the move.
Yeah, that's good.
If you really want to stack the deck for your children.
I understand for leagues, there has to be a cutoff, but it matters when they're 8, 9, 10 and above. But come on, 5.
5 is,
let him play with his friends.
5's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
My parent corner, there's just a lot to choose from with my son these days. He's really turning into one of the all-time characters. You posted a photo of Brad asleep at football today with your son standing next to him, and my son's kind of turning into our Brad.
No,
just like he's just a character. There's like, I could pick 7 stories,
okay.
But so I'll go with these 2. My wife gave him $40 because he was walking downtown to go get coffee or some coffee drink with his friend Ben, and they're going to go walk around.
That's good. That story's good enough right there. You could stop.
Yeah, that was my whole thing. I was like, why'd you give him $40? Why didn't you give him like $10? She's like, I don't know. I just grabbed money from my wallet. So giving him $40, it's like a game show where you're giving like just dumb 11-year-olds money to just spend. And So anyway, he comes back and there was some sale from a store and he's carrying all this stuff. And he's like, Mom, the store had a sale. I don't forget the name of it. And I got all this stuff, and it was, I can't even describe what the stuff one was a thing. It almost looked like a stand, And he's like, I'm going to keep my trophies on this. He hasn't won a trophy, I don't think, yet. I think he won one baseball trophy. So it's like, so that's great. This ugly stand, I don't even know where it's going to go. You have that. And then it was like there was one giant long key that he really liked because it looked like a key from a scary movie. It's like, look at this. It was marked down from $10 to $1. It's like, yeah, because it's a fucking giant key. Who would want this?
Do you know what it says?
You sure it wasn't?
What did it say?
It says the key to my heart on it.
Oh my God. And then there was like some gold chains. So anyway, he spent the whole $40. Then my wife's mad at him. I was like, why are you mad at him? He's an idiot. You should be mad at yourself. So we have that. Then the other thing was, I rejoined my fantasy league with my friends from high school, the one that I was in from like 1990, which I had skipped out on because I didn't want to be in multiple leagues, and then they made me feel guilty.
Yeah,
so I'm back in that. Did the online draft, the whole thing, but I wanted. I told my son, I was like, we should be partners for this. He's like, great. So we do the draft. He's interested right to the point where he really wanted me to take Baker Mayfield, which might be the only quarterback he knows other than Tom Brady. So we take him and then disappears, is gone for the rest of the draft. Downloads the CBS app on his phone, and then he can look at our team, and he's all excited about that. He's like, hey, Dad, look at our team. We're favored to win this week, all this stuff. I'm going to watch football with you and Kyle on Sunday. I'm like, great. So comes around, it's like 9:55 West Coast time. Like, you gonna come out and watch football? So yeah, I'm gonna be out there in 1 second. I'm just gonna go on the trampoline. Comes in, he's in for 2 minutes, watches like 2 Baker Mayfield passes. Like, I'll be right back. I never see him again. Just gone the rest of the day. No interest in anything. Then comes back in and starts yelling at me because we also have Lamar Jackson, who I didn't start because I started Baker Mayfield. Because that's the only football player my son's heard of other than everyone on the Patriots. And I'm like, I started Baker Mayfield because that was the guy you were all excited about. You wanted Baker Mayfield. He's like, yeah, but Dad, Lamar has 5 touchdowns. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're so dumb. I'm like, you don't even watch football. You're not even out here. So now we're yelling at each other. And then he ends up not watching any football at all. And now he doesn't care about the fantasy team because we lost. And we suck, and I picked a bad team, and he doesn't want to be on my team anymore. So that's it.
He's going to end up stabbing you with that giant key.
Well, and then the other thing is he has a Pats jersey that has his rap name on the back because I got Kyle the Flash Gordon jersey, so he got his melatonin jersey and then wouldn't wear that tonight because he was still mad about the fantasy team.
Bastard.
Yeah, because I didn't
Baker
start Lamar
Mayfield
Jackson.
Basically turned the child off to sports, really, or off to football. All we need to see was 2 Baker Mayfield passes.
Well, what you realize is when we were growing up, all we wanted to do is like watch sports with our dad, right? It was like, what was better than, oh yeah, watch a game with my pops. They don't want to do that. They just want to watch, a prank video on YouTube.
Yeah. Can you imagine yelling at your father for starting getting cracked upside the head so fast?
Well, and then he's been researching his Halloween costume. Who's the guy he's going to be, Kyle? He's going to be this guy from...
Is it a YouTuber?
It's a YouTube video.
Right in one ear out my other. I don't know.
And I'm like, who's that, Zoe? And Zoe goes, he's this guy in Daniel Dobrik's video who he sleeps with all these girls and smokes a lot of pot. So Ben thought it'd be funny to be him for Halloween. I'm like, that doesn't sound funny at all. Can he not do that? Oh, and then when Kyle came in today... Ben tried to stab him with his knife that plunges
I heard it was
into
broken, so I wasn't on the lookout for it. I thought he was actually going to stab me.
So he came at Ben with a knife, and then it plunged in, and then it receded into itself because this was the $1 thing he bought.
He's going to put Kyle on his trophy case.
Yeah.
That's going to be the first
I'm
one.
telling you, you do character of the year every year. This is going to be the first child in character of the year.
I love it.
He also asked Kyle today if Kyle wanted the BB gun that he bought on Amazon because he can't have it.
I got some use.
You actually kind of need that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Kyle's going to take the BB.
Kyle, you might need it for defense for when
from Ben.
Coming at you.
That's right.
All right, so that wraps up another exciting episode of Parent Corner, sponsored by CarMax. CarMax rules out millions of cars with their vetting process and select only the best to become CarMax certified. With over 200 stores nationwide and more than 50,000 CarMax certified cars to choose from, they make it easy to find the perfect car for your family, or in our case, our screwed up families. They have your back with a 7-day money-back guarantee on every vehicle, no haggling, never any pressure to buy. Drive worry-free for 90 days or 4,000 miles, whichever comes first. with the CarMax limited warranty. Start the search for your next car at CarMax.com. All right, so you're doing Lock It In tomorrow. What's the top story tomorrow? Patriots?
Top story is I'm the king. I won this week. I pulled it out. Oh, man, I have me with those money line parlays. I had a 6-teamer. Florida State, I needed to win in overtime. I needed Michigan to win in overtime and Seattle to pull out that crap game in the fourth quarter. But, yeah, that's the top story. I guess the top story's got to be Antonio Brown, right? How he affects the Raiders line.
Well, you can bet a certain amount every week, right? You should just put all the money on the Pats to win the AFC East. Like, you just could have won the show.
Well, no, you have to do something that pays out every Sunday.
Oh, it has to pay out by the Sunday.
Yeah, but that said, when you win the week, you get a free futures bet, and mine's going to be Patriots to win the Super Bowl. I'm just going to get the unpleasantness out of the way and do it, right? What else would you do? There's nothing else, right?
I mean, you bitch about this all the time, and yet no team has made you more money over the years.
I'll have to look back, but yeah, you're probably right.
Nobody's been more reliable than the New England Patriots for your wallet.
Terrible.
That's what they do. All right, the Cuz. Week 1 in the books. Looking forward to the 2 Monday night games tomorrow. We love that second Monday night game.
That's good. I love it. It's good. Who's it? It's going to be like Chris Berman's dog sitter calling the game? How did they do it?
You didn't see the Dan and Keith on Friday night, did you?
No, I missed it.
I was so bummed out that was the night they picked. Like, who watches SportsCenter on Friday night? I wish they had done that on like Sunday night. They should have done tonight.
No, I'm going to have to take a look.
I know they had to do it on the exact birthday, but
was it good? Did you see it?
I didn't see it. I was at a Metallica concert watching Enter Sandman and the Puppets.
Don't they know everyone's at Metallica on Friday?
Yeah, they should have known.
Yeah.
But no, I heard it was great though. I heard it was
nice.
really, really
check
good.
It out.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. Anything else to plug?
No, that's it. I guess Jimmy Kimmel Live tonight and every weeknight on ABC. And Degenerate Trifecta and I on Against All Odds Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. No Tate.
We'll have a new producer.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
I think we go Jim Cunningham, if it's all right.
Nice. Did Jim Cunningham get called out of the bullpen?
Nice. I think so. Let's talk about Enter Sandman.
Jim Cunningham's always a good vote.
There you go.
Enter Jim Cunningham.
Kyle, was it emotional? I mean, I was getting Kyle was sending me GIFs all night.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think they were going through, so sorry.
No, I loved them.
They're good ones. It's the ones I sent you.
Was it emotional, Kyle?
Yeah, I think so.
Tate was employee number 1 at the Ringer. I hired him in my I hired him in my driveway because he brought all my stuff from ESPN. After I left ESPN, I had all the stuff in my office, and they never gave it to me. And I kept asking, and finally I said to Jacoby, like, "Hey, I need that stuff. Like, there's some cool pictures." So they had Tate bring the stuff, and I met Tate, and we talked in my driveway for 20 minutes. I was like, "I like this kid." So I was like, "When this Ringer thing starts, I'm hiring you." And he ended up being my first podcast producer. And he was the producer for, I don't know, for what, 2 years, 2.5 years until Kyle.
Good, wow.
And then he ended up doing Against All Odds with Titus. And then he also
One Shining Podcast. Yeah.
Against All Odds. One Shining Podcast with I'm sorry, it's late. One Shining Podcast with Titus. He did GM Street with Lombardi, and he was producing a whole bunch of pods. So
yeah, we're gonna miss him.
Yeah, well, we wish him a lot of luck. He's going into porn, and I think he's gonna do a great job.
He's gonna be the best.
I think he's in the right age. He's gonna act and direct, and it's gonna be great. Now he'll tell everybody what he's doing when the time comes. But
we'll tell them before he tells them. Just to screw him up.
He'll still make appearances on Against All Odds every so often and stuff like that.
For sure.
All right, Sal, good job by you.
Good job by you, buddy.
All right, thanks so much to ZipRecruiter.com. Don't forget to go to ZipRecruiter.com/BS. Thanks to the Ryan Russillo Show, which don't forget, it brings in Chris Long every Monday, starting this week. Chris Long and Ryan Russillo. Check that out. Subscribe to the Russillo podcast if you haven't already. I don't know why you wouldn't have. We are coming back with 2 more BS podcasts this week. I hope they're as enjoyable as this one was. What a great day. Go Pats.